Are you ready? Are you ready for my jingle? You ready for my jingle? Yeah, you are. Hello, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everyone, Cantonese Cat here. Oh boy, what a red day. You know, on a red day, don't hesitate. On a green day, don't celebrate. Keep it even keeled. Don't be too high, don't be too low. That's the way to do it. Follow the trend. Follow the longer term trend, not the hourly trend, not the daily trend, but the weekly trend and the monthly trend. Unless if you're a day trader, if you like to get all stressed out and trade these scalp moves, trade every few hours, trying to go in and out, or you're trying to really do day trading, trying to enter, and then maybe within like a couple of days just to get out and try and make your gains that way. There's certainly a valid choice there. There's a lot of psychological impact into your health if you decide to choose that route to trying to make money. The success rate is often low for most people. And if you're trying to look for the trend, it's such a lower time frame. A lot of times it can be inaccurate versus looking at the trend at a higher time frame that might give you a better chance for success if you're not trying to make money tomorrow. I don't know if there is anybody really can claim that they can consistently make you money every day, every week, every month by trading. Most people are unable to do that. If they are really able to do that, they really don't need to sell you any courses or anything like that. Anyway, I'm more into long-term investments. I do like to ride up a longer-term bull trend, and I do want to dial up my leverage when I see a long-term bull trend and get into a little bit of a riskier stocks. Right now, today, a day does not make a trend. And there are a few things I'm seeing that are quite funny, if you will. One thing is that a lot of people are blaming today's market on what the Fed is saying. One of the Fed chair apparently have said that, hey, maybe we're not going to cut rates this year. And since he said that, he's been one of the more hawkish ones anyway. I mean, it's weird when they're trying to get the market to do certain things. I'm not going to say the word manipulate, but I guess I kind of did. When they're trying to move the market a certain way, they might have certain people, certain mouthpieces, if you will, go on and talk crap one way or another. None of these things really matter. They might talk crap, and the market may appear to be responding. But I think that it's very possible it was going to happen that way anyway, and they just kind of needed to have a narrative, a catalyst, if you will, to make it that way. For example, I'm going to show you here on the SPY. This is a daily chart on the SPY. I almost never show a daily chart, but what is happening is that, intraday it was kind of going green, green, green. Hey, we got a pretty nice green candle going all the way up here, testing resistance, trying to push. Not able to push through. Guess what happens? Big giant rejection happened. Now you're starting to have a little bit of a bearish engulfing candle here on the daily. Is there a potential for it to go down further? Sure, there's always a potential for that. But it's kind of funny how you end up trying to push it against a key resistance level. You're not able to do that. Next thing, your price got rejected, and then you needed some kind of like Fed talk to push that down. But same thing was kind of, happening with the Qs. It's been trying to break above this level for quite some time now, for several weeks now. Trying to break, not able to do it. Guess what happens? Plummets. It also looks like the Qs, the Nasdaq also has a little bit of a bearish engulfing candle right here. Could that mean that you are going to go down a lot further? Potentially, not always. Let me look over here. You do have a big volume bearish engulfing candle. Having a doji the next day and just kind of whipsaw here a little bit, and then just having this giant whipsaw. So that's another example. Like daily bearish engulfing candle, not that necessarily that reliable. Over here too, you had a bearish engulfing candle. Didn't end up doing too much the next day. So it is a high volume bearish engulfing candle. So I do wonder what's going to happen next. Same thing happening with SPY. The RWM looks a little bit different. It didn't seem to have a bearish engulfing candle. What happened happening was that RWM actually was looking very bullish right off the gate. Closed this gap right here, As soon as the gap closed, it served as resistance. As long as the Fed talked, it just came back down. The volume is actually, sell volume is actually not that high though for IWM. For a small cap Russell 2000, the sell volume is actually not that high, and you didn't end up having that bearish engulfing candle. Do I hear a rotation? Do I hear a rotation from large cap to small cap potentially? Maybe. Maybe. You do have a little bit of bearish engulfing candle here with the ARK Fund, but ARK Fund also did the same thing. Went up trying to close the gap right here. Gap closed. As soon as the gap closed, boom, went back down. The volume's not that high though for ARK, for selling for ARK. Not like how it was for the Qs, not like how it was for SPY. These selling volume really aren't that impressive for IWM and for ARK. If it's really truly a bad bearish day, would you end up having a firm only down like 4 or 5%? I would imagine it would be down like 10, 20%. It's not doing that anymore. It's already done that for a lot. And the volume has just been pathetically going down, 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 down. The sellers are really not that committed in terms of volume. All it takes just for a little bit of buying energy, and over here, next thing you know, this thing can pop up to like the 60s and 70s. If it really was a bearish day today, why would Tesla be green? If it really was a bearish day today, why would Shopify only just be down 1%? And the volume is not very impressive at all. I just don't see this being that bearish of a day. Especially Bitcoin. Bitcoin actually did pretty well today. I mean, granted, it kind of did a little bit like a back test of certain resistance up here, and it got rejected. But today is actually not that bad of a day in the context of things. Now, can it go down further because of how big, bad, bearish, high volume engulfing candle that the SPY and the QQQ had created today? Sure. But does it have to? I don't know. I also find this kind of funny too, that I'm going back to the 2-year yield here again. I don't really care about what the Fed funds rate is. It's just government doing government crap. What it does is it generally follows the market condition. And they're very in tune in terms of what the market is doing. The rates already are doing it for them in terms of what the real rates are, which are based on the 2-year and 10-year yields. This is the 2-year yields right here today. When the Fed was talking crap about not lowering rates, the rate lowered anyway. That was the candle right here. I don't know why they already have a candle here today for tomorrow for the 5th, but today is the 4th. The rate went down for the 2-year. For the 10-year, rate went down. Went down even further when the Fed was talking crap about not lowering rates. They just lowered for them a little bit more. 10-year yield had a pretty bearish candle yesterday. I mean, you got like a little bit of inverted hammer top right here. These things are generally very bearish. And it had followed through today. So this higher for longer narrative, I don't see that being the narrative for as to why the market went down. I think the market went down today just because they wanted to go down. And it was hitting resistance. It was not able to break through. And next thing you know, it just did what it had to do. Now, if you look at over here, you think about the 10-year yield, like, hey, it looks like it might just be doing a little bit of a back test here at this level. And if it finds support, it might go up higher. That's possible. That is actually a possibility because it's been forming a little bit of these highs over here. That is actually a possibility on the daily. Now, but if you're just looking at the daily, then I don't know what else to tell you. I like to look at the weekly and monthly, and I like to look at it with a couple of indicators. So for example, if you look at the weekly over here, if you look at the Bollinger Band, it actually looks like it's been downtrending here. And looks like it kind of broke back above the 20-week moving average. And it's kind of looking like it's kind of got rejected in the upper Bollinger Band over here. It is on the higher part of the upper Bollinger Band, so it does make you wonder what's going to happen, whether or not there's going to be some increase in rates here a little bit in the short term. But the monthly, it does start to look a little bit exhausted here on the 10-year. And if you don't just look at that Bollinger Band, if you also look at the Ichimoku Cloud, you can clearly see that this is the Tenkan line of the Ichimoku Cloud. Generally in the bull market, Tenkan serve as support pushing things up, right? You have a little bit of a breakdown here, broken back up above it, broke down of it again, trying to break above this for about 4 months in a row now. It's not able to break back above. It's been getting rejected by the Tenkan. Their Tenkan is also rolling over too. So it's looking weaker and weaker. This is the 10-year, this is the 2-year. 2-year is basically doing the same thing on the monthly. It's just been rolling over. It got rejected by the Tenkan 4 months in a row. And the Tenkan's starting to look weaker and weaker. It's starting to look like it's about to roll over. So I don't know about the rate thing. If you look at the US dollar, people are worried the US dollar is going to get higher. And again, it looks like it's not getting higher. You look at the Ichimoku Cloud, actually did find a little bit of support here in the Tenkan. That's probably why it bounced a little bit. But it's getting weaker. You know why I know it's getting weaker? Because you just had a bearish cross. The Kijun, which is a lagging indicator, is crossing above the Tenkan. Tenkan actually is doing a little bit of like a stepping down here, despite a little bit of a higher up over here for the month of April. It's actually been doing a little bit of like a step down here. You know what really makes the US dollar look really, really bearish? If you put out the Bollinger Bands on the monthly, it clearly got rejected by a negative sloping 20-month moving average. You have enough of this downtrend here for the 20-month moving average to now serve as potential resistance, which could potentially slap the US dollar down further. You know what that's good for? Bitcoin. You know what Bitcoin's doing? I'll tell you what Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin's correcting sideways here a little bit because it was just way too far above the upper Bollinger Band, and it just had to go sideways, touch up a Bollinger Band, allowing the Bollinger Band to expand before going higher. It's just a day. You know what SPY is doing? S&P 500 is doing? Closed up way outside upper Bollinger Band last month, just went sideways, closed back inside. Pretty healthy correction. It can correct a lot lower and it can still be a very healthy correction. You know what the Qs are doing? Same thing. Just been 4 days, just kind of correcting. It's already inside. It's not overextended. The Qs actually really haven't had any of these crazy moves like it did over here. So I think the correction, even though it might feel pretty bad because price basically just hadn't really done anything for like a month or two, is still looking pretty decent. IWM, it just kind of went sideways here. So far it's only been 4 days. And it's been going down a lot for just being 4 days. And it's been feeling pretty painful. But the volume really hasn't been that impressive. I don't really care about the day-to-day action because if you I'm just going to go for it real quick. Okay, SPY, Bollinger Band expansion on the monthly, 20-month moving average pointing up. A little bit of correction that's maybe happening. QQQ NASDAQ, Bollinger Band expansion up. 20-month moving average pointing up. Maybe a little bit of correction sideways here to be expected. IWM, small caps, Bollinger Band opening, expansion. 20-month moving average pointing up. Price is, really, really going up here. Even if you look at the Dow Jones, the same thing is also kind of happening. You have the Bollinger Band expansion over here, allowing price to go up even higher. You have a little bit of correction. It's just been 4 days. Is that going to end up being how the month candle is going to end up being? I don't know. It's only been 4 days. So, but that's something to pay attention to, right? VIX, what is VIX doing? Let's look at what VIX is doing. Give you a general idea in terms of what it's doing. Just the downtrend. VIX is a volatility index, and basically it happens, it goes up if there's increase in volatility, which means a lot of people are scared, a lot of people are trying to hedge. It's been going down. Like, not a lot of people are really hedging, so basically means that the trend in terms of investor confidence has actually been up. Could VIX end up spiking above this 20-month moving average that's negative sloping here a little bit to bring on more fear in the month of April before it goes up again? Sure. But I just kind of want to point out to you, like the trend is down. VIX is going down. And this is objective. This is not me making things up. What about the US dollar? I just showed you it's going down. What about yields? Yields look like it's starting to roll over. It's looking like it may be finding some temporary support here, but it looks like it's about to roll over. It looks like it's rolling over here. It looks like it's rolling over here. 10-year yield, same thing. Looks like it's just kind of rolling over. Can it be having some temporary spikes here and there before going down? Sure. Bitcoin, what is it doing? Very, very strong. 20-month moving average crawling way up. Bollinger Band expansion, very strong. This is overall still a risk-on market until proven otherwise. ARK Fund, ARKK. What is it doing? Bollinger Band expansion, 20-month moving average pointing up. If you look at the TQQQ, I don't know, it's kind of weird to chart a triple leverage fund for the Nasdaq, but you look at the TQQQ here, which is it's like a triple leverage fund that if you want to get additional exposure to, you can with the Nasdaq. What happened is it had a bullish cross a couple months ago, went above the cloud, and it back tested the cloud last month. And right now it looks like we're having a second back test of the cloud right here, just 4 days into the month. These are pretty healthy price action. Even if it back tests back to the bottom of the cloud over here, probably around the time when the Tenkan goes up, even a back test down here to like 50, this is still a very, very nice bull trend. I mean, and this is like a leverage play here. I'm going to go back to the VIX here too. If you look at the Ichimoku cloud for the VIX, can the VIX get rejected again by the Tenkan before figure out what it's going to do next? Sure. But the Tenkan so far, the downtrend is very, very obvious. It's just been stepping down, and stepping down. So until otherwise noticed, it still seems to be serving as a resistance. Could it break out above it and change the trend? Sure. But right now, there's still no sign that it's going to do that. I'm going to take you away from the monthly. I'm going to go back to the weekly here. I also want to show you something. I'm going to show you Bollinger Bands. Is this sell-off this week anticipated? The answer is maybe. Because you have a Bollinger Band squeeze over here back in March of 2023. And when you have a squeezing of Bollinger Band here, VIX end up spiking, right? Guess what happened over here? We have a squeeze of the Bollinger Band around August, September. VIX end up spiking around October. And guess what's happened? We have a little bit of Bollinger Band squeeze over here throughout the month of March because VIX has just been going sideways and doing nothing. And what do? You get a spike. Now, what happens when you spike above the upper Bollinger Band here on the weekly? It might end up sustaining for about a week or two after that. It might end up, still staying elevated. What happens afterwards? It gets slapped back underneath the upper Bollinger Band, back inside of the Bollinger Band. Over here, what happens when things are kind of spiky? Yeah, it went on maybe at least for another 4 weeks after that. But afterwards, rejection, hard, right? We're starting to see that now. You're talking about, could this potentially be like a 2-week thing, or 4-week thing, 5-week thing? I don't know. Nobody knows. The 20-week moving average is starting to core up a little bit like it is over here. So I don't know if it could potentially go on for longer. April is generally a pretty favorable month, though, in terms of seasonality. And this is not just April. This is April of election year. So in general, there's probably going to be increased liquidity. They're probably going to want to print more money. You can't just have market going straight up, like with VIX being low like this, and with SPY going up like this. You can't just have it just keep on going straight up. You're going to have some corrections here and there. Now, is the SPY corrections going to go all the way down to maybe like 500 to finish up the correction? Potentially. I mean, you're talking about from 525 to like 500. That's really not much of a correction. You're talking about maybe like 5% correction. A healthy correction can go anywhere really from like 5 to 10%. With the QQQ, could potentially come down here to like the 420s or even lower to some of these levels down here. Could it do that as a correction? Sure, that's always a possibility. IWM just made a higher high. Could it come back down here to like the 200s, 190s, high 190s, and make a higher low before a bullish continuation? Sure. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. I'm not going to get scared by the day to day. I'm not even going to get scared by the week to week. I don't care. Stocks, bull trend. Yields, potentially starting bear trend. US dollar, bear trend. Bitcoin, bull trend. I am that dumb. I'm okay with being dumb. I don't know if you want to be smart about it or dumb about it. It's up to you. Anyway, I just kind of blattered for about 20 minutes. It's National Burrito Day. I'm gonna go and get some burritos. Meow, have a good one. Bye.